GM, we are live. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. And let's just hop into mini schnauzer. Let's not stand on ceremony. I realized if I start this stream at 8:30 exactly, there is no way for me to get 3 drafts in without massive overlap. There's probably still going to be some overlap between the first and second or second and third draft, but I do try to get out of here by 10 a.m. so everybody can head on over to the ship chasing stream, which I know is very popular and is one of my favorite listens of the week. So we're already in. We are already in. Mooncat, Greg, I don't know if you're in the chat yet, but you are in this draft in the 12 hole. So welcome. Thank you so much for drafting here. I am here in the 8 hole, and I don't recognize anyone else in the room, but let's get the ducks rolling right away. Again, I apologize for the early start, but I've just come to realize that when I have these sort of 10 a.m. outs, then I like to get it started a little bit early. So we got the ducks cranking. Greg, GM, thank you so much for coming in. I see you there in the 12 hole, and let's hope that the draft gods are kind to us this morning. I'll pull the board up so everyone can see what is going on. I guess between yesterday and today, the two big bits of news were the Judkins arrest report came out. Some pretty tough facts in there. I think we're still waiting for everything to come out, but I think the this is just going to blow over crowd is probably rethinking that now. I don't really want to speculate on what the NFL is going to do or how the legal system is going to play out or whatnot. It's I'll say it's just very unfortunate situation. But I do think Judkins, I'm not taking him off completely, but I don't think I want to take him before pick 100 at this point. I think there is certainly some kind of suspension risk, certainly some legal risk, and we'll see how that plays out. And the NFL has been inconsistent with how they've handled similar situations, so it's just tough to know how it's going to come out from a sort of best ball perspective. So CMC is definitely the pick here. I was going to say I didn't think he had flipped Puka quite yet, but into this room, Mr. Pickles party time. It flipped him on his board, so we will take CMC at 8. On the bump is a dog for sure in the 5 spot. So of course, when you have a good player, what you like to do is you like to give them nice ADP value, like Saquon at the 5. So that's a nice gift for on the bump. Hartman, GM, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us this morning. We're off and running, and we're going to see what our friend Greg does here in the 12 hole with his back-to-back picks. He gets Amon-Ra. Does he pair him with BTJ? No, he pairs him with Drake London. I like that. I love Drake London. I think Drake London is in this initial tier, and I also just realized BTJ had already gone at 9. But yeah, Drake London to me is pretty much on the same level as these other first round receivers. Maybe a half a tier below, but that's just how we tend to draft him. But never upset to get London. He is one of the elite receivers in my book. So we took CMC. Jonathan Taylor goes, I don't think I've done much A-Chain CMC, so we'll try that out. We're going to go robust RB in this room. Hopefully that does not come back to bite us, but I have been trying to up my A-Chan exposures. He is obvious one of the clear beneficiaries of the Jonnu departure, but we will see. Greg asks, is it Amon-Ra FUD or fatigue? That's a good question. I don't know. I think people use the knee scope as an excuse to drop him a little bit, but I don't know. I think we just get bored of drafting in the same order all summer, so things just get shuffled around. Also, my StreamYard randomly just made my screen small the way I view it. I don't know why. You guys got tiny on my screen. So not great. It just randomly seemed to happen. I feel like this happened to PPR Tyler yesterday, and I don't know how he resolved it. But anyway, kind of a weird situation for me, but does not affect any of you, Skeletor. Thank you so much for coming this morning. I mean, out, Greg says, the Amon-Ra London at the turn feels like a layup to me. Yeah, I feel like that's a great turn, and I don't feel like you're in the minority there. People really like picking from the right side of the board, especially the turn. Though those first two picks you get are pretty good. You can kind of control what happens here a little bit. Whereas, if you have Daniels and McLaurin and you want that stack and they're both there, you can get that versus, having to worry about if you're before the turn, one or the other getting sniped. I don't like when I get McLaurin. If I take McLaurin from the 10 or 11 and then Daniels doesn't come around, I'm never happy. Like, I know it's okay, but I just feel like, blech. So I like the 12 spot quite a bit this year. Let's see what the one hole did. So the one hole did the Chase Higgins thing, but unusually a little bit did not take a Cardinal. So that's somewhat unique there. I mean, unique's the wrong word, but it's a little more uncommon. You typically see people make that week 17 stack because the ADPs line up perfectly. McBride is going to fall in this room. He's going to fall to the 5 hole. Mr. Pickles Party Time is going to get pick 30 McBride. I mean, everything. Oh, and he passes on it. My goodness. So McBride is just sliding these days, I guess. I'm going to have a real decision to make if McBride comes to me because I have no wide receivers through 2 rounds, which is a little bit aggressive. It would make my wide receiver one someone, let's see, pick 41. So I will queue up McBride because this is going to be kind of unusual. It's going to make someone like a DJ Moore or a Metcalf or a Tet McMillan kind of range my wide receiver one. But you know what? It's a mini schnauzer. We're going to hope that we can dig out of this wide receiver hole that we're in. So we will see. Skeletor says, I can't get a win to save my life. Stayed home from work because my cat had emergency surgery before in Barney. 2K gone in a single swipe. Oh no. I hope your cat is okay, Skeletor. I love animals. I love cats. That's tough, but it's great that your cat has someone that cares for them enough and can afford to do that. I'm sorry, it's a big hit to the wallet there, buddy. But I feel for you. I feel for the cat. I hope everyone's okay. And let's hopefully the wins come soon. You certainly deserve it there, Skeletor. Hartman, you might have some kind of option to expand on different screens. I think I do, but I am famously not amazing at multitasking, and I feel like I'm going to like have the biggest awkward pause in the world if I try to fix it. And I just can't for the life of me figure out why the screen shrunk to like 1/4 of the size for me. I know I said Tet McMillan's or Terry McLaurin's is not my favorite, but I will take him 9 picks past ADP. I do not love him as my wide receiver one, but I think it's looking a little bit of a gift horse in the mouth to not take him on this team. So for the audio listeners, we have started with CMC, Devon Achane, Trey McBride, and Terry McLaurin. So we are in major catch-up mode at wide receiver. Greg agrees. Yes, Skeletor, that is tough, man. Crander 47, GM. Well, Skeletor, I am glad to provide something this morning. Hopefully, it's good drafting, a good community we have here of people hanging out. So thanks for coming in, and I really hope things turn around. Who Hames, sup fam? GM to you, Who Hames. Thank you for coming in. I was in one of the famous, legendary Who Hames underflow drafts. I tried to draft with Who Hames last night. I got antsy. I hit the join early. And Who Hames announced he was waiting for 9, and my draft was starting. But no, Who Hames, your stream was great last night. Thank you again for all your support and for hanging out this morning. Crander hopes that the cat is going okay. Al Boogie is going to get cataracts. Is there something wrong with my settings, or are you? Because I don't want this to be a bad viewing experience, or I don't know if you're making a comment on me not taking any receivers. But Al Boogie, thank you, GM to you. Thank you for coming by. Craig said, got a guy for that. Many such cases. GM, Best Ball on Call. Thank you so much for hanging out this morning. All right, let's see. The board is coming to us. We need a wide receiver, and my heavens, it is running back country here. Good gravy. Man, like if Chuba Hubbard or Walker's there, I'm crazy enough to just take another running back and say forget it. Like Juwan Jennings might come back to me with how scared people are. I feel like I'm just gonna do it. We're gonna take Chuba Hubbard in this room. We're really gonna go anchor wide receiver with Terry McLaurin. This is going to be pretty sketchy. This could be hyper fragile. We might really stop at 4 running backs on this team. Although with 2 week 14 buys, we might have to add a 5th later. We will see. We will see. Who Aims, the underflow was a rough room. You know what? Who Aims actually really liked my team. I got kind of lucky, but yes, it was a sharp room. But I got one of those nice like sharp rooms where people stay in their lane and don't snipe all your quarterbacks unstacked. Steve, GM, how's it going? Steve, I messaged you back. I think tomorrow after this stream, I will be on Steve's stream on FanSpeak. Steve, I know we haven't confirmed that, but I'm really excited. I hope that comes together. But yeah, Steve and I will be streaming this week. I think it'll be tomorrow. Details to come. But Steve, thank you so much for coming out and hanging out here this morning. I'm gonna optimistically queue up Godwin, Judy, and man, Debo. Debo would be kind of wild here if my only 2 wide receivers were the Commanders. I feel like that's can't be good. As much as I do not love Jerry Jeudy, I think I gotta take him over Debo on this team. Starting my team with 2 Commanders receivers and no Jaden Daniels feels pretty thin. All right. Joke. Okay, good. We are good. Al Boogie, thank you. Oh yeah, thanks. I was and yeah, thanks Who Hames as well. I posted this in Who Hames Discord. I have a few tickets, like 5 or 6, to the DK 555 that I won in golf and MMA DFS. I don't buy into the 555s. I'll play if I sat in, and I sat it in. And I liked how my 555 team turned out last night. It was a tough room. There were a few snipes, but I think we were able to get by it. I took Jonnu past ADP to set up Aaron Rodgers, and then the guy snapped off Aaron Rodgers right ahead of me, and so I ended up with just like naked Darnold, which as my 3rd QB, which was fine. I did the thing where you take MVS and you tell yourself a story, but other than that, I really liked how the team came together. So I appreciate you all looking at that and enjoying the team. Al Boogie is still drafting Jennings every time. Yeah, I'm not changing my outlook on Jennings. If he'd fallen to me, I would have happily taken him. This feels like one of those things that's going to resolve and not lead to like any kind of holdout, and it's just like kind of a dip. If you like the player, this is a good opportunity. Who Hames, what I don't know what the DK bonus is actually this time. Wow, Steve says I got Who Hames on tonight and Chad Kendall's tomorrow. Guys, I'm gonna tell you something, real talk. If you're gonna catch one of those streams, Who Hames and Steve, or me and Steve, you should just watch the Who Hames one. That's going to be awesome. Steve and Who Hames, 2 of the best ball knowers out there. Hopefully you can watch both, though. If you can catch us both, I would love it. Come out, hang out with Steve and I tomorrow. It's going to be fun. But my goodness, that is a awesome stream that I will be tuning into today. Let's see about Steph Diggs. I think we're gonna get a wide receiver 1 on this team. I find myself taking more Diggs lately. It seems like he's going to be ready for week 1. Drake May kind of goes in a spot where I'm happy to take a quarterback. So for the audio listeners, we've got CMC, Devon Achane, Chuba Hubbard, strong wide receiver room, Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, and Steph Diggs, mediocre wide receiver room, and Trey McBride at tight end. Thinking about quarterbacks, we've missed the boat on Daniels. We don't know who the quarterback in Cleveland is. Drake May is a bit of a priority. And with Trey McBride, Kyler Murray might be a little bit of a might be a little bit of a priority. Otherwise, we're going to have to, come up with some back stacks or see about. I don't think Justin Fields is going to line up with me at 104. It's kind of unlikely he'll be around. If I'm looking at naked QB, 113, if Drake May's there, he'd probably be the pick. Judkins continues to fall. I don't think I'm ready to do that. The question for me, do I take Josh Downs or do I take Kyler? And I think I take Josh Downs and say I really quarterback is going to be so wide receiver is so thin that I think adding Downs to this room, who I like. The issue with Downs though is he is unstackable. I mean, Cooper Kupp might have been a nice choice for me because Darnold goes so late that I can continue to add wide receivers rather than have to worry about taking the quarterback early. Whereas Josh Downs, I don't really like stacking the quarterback because you might just be eating a 0 for half the year or all the year, depending on who you choose. Higgins would have been another potential choice because Stroud, if I'm going to take a quarterback in that kind of 120 to 130, Stroud is a guy I like to add. But I think Downs, does represent a little more of an upside swing in the wide receiver department kind of from day one. Huaim says, if I read that right, all the entries put in the DK Millie today will play total points on top of regular top 100 squads get $250, assuming you opt in. Very interesting. I like that. Creating like a little shadow contest. I think that's really kind of cool. I think that's really interesting there. Yeah. I will definitely opt in and run some DraftKings. So Judkins, let's see, does he break 100 in this room? I took him out of my ranks. These ranks I set up for the Dalmatian, that mini Dalmatian, the $1 tournament, because I realized after I drafted 15 teams, I had like 10 shares of Judkins or something. Because I didn't update the ranks from ADP like right when that had happened, so I just removed him entirely. It doesn't mean I will not take him if the situation's right, but I don't think this is particularly the team for him. Jaden Higgins would be nice. If Higgins goes, then Shaheed is possible. And then if those two go, I think at that point, I would rather take Scatterbo, but maybe I really just need to be an adult and take Bateman. Let's see what the room gives to us. So Judkins goes at pick 101 to On the Bump, the aforementioned 5-hole. Man, I would be really happy if I got Higgins here. Dalton Dollar already has 5 receivers, so maybe he goes tight end in this spot. Let's see what Dalton Dollar goes. He winds the clock and takes Kincaid, so he does. So let's take Higgins here. I think we might make it. I think we might make it here. Remember, quantity or quality, not both. We are going the quantity route here. So our wide receiver room adds Higgins to it. Let's see our quarterback situation. I'm going to queue up Drake May. If Drake May goes, that's okay. I will just have to pass on Stroud at this point and hope that he comes around, but we're going to start getting a little thin at quarterback. Let me pull the draft board up. Mooncat, I will check in on you after I make my next pick. All right. Tyler, Emo Cowboy, GM, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Who says hello? Tyler says hello back. Steve at Huaim's, what I don't get about it is it pays out after 9-9, so is it just for the first week of the season? A week 1 contest. Well, that's week 1 is all that matters, as they say. At least they do in the Eliminator Streets. We'll add Drake May to the team, so we do get the May Diggs stack. I feel like this team, we're kind of pulling it out of a nosedive. It's coming together, considering we went 1 wide receiver early and only 1 wide receiver through 5 rounds, and it was Terry McLaurin, who's not my favorite. We did get a nice fall on him. So let's check what Mooncat did. The polar opposite. He starts with Amon-Ra, Drake London, DJ Moore, Jamison Williams, and Juwan Jennings. So 5 receivers, followed by 4 running backs: DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard, Jalen Warren, Travis Etienne, and he adds Caleb Williams, stacking him up with You did stack him. I'm crazy. DJ Moore. Yeah, DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift. Sorry, I was somehow moved over to Crease's team. And so for our team, we started with CMC, Devon Achane, Trey McBride, Terry McLaurin, Chuba Hubbard, Jerry Jeudy, Steph Diggs, Josh Downs, and Jaden Higgins. So not too bad. Not too bad. This will probably end up as a 3-5-7-2 type team, but we'll stay flexible. I do think I'm going to need a fifth running back with the 2 week 14 buys, unless something, truly, unusual happens. Could I stop at 4 if I get like a Tajay Spears type? Yeah, I don't think that would be too terrible, but I feel like at the end of the draft, those fifth running backs also, those kind of guys that can hit your flex if everything goes right, makes sense. And I feel like we're not doing too bad at receiver. Astro Meng really messing up the vibes in this room. All right, let's see, Craig. What is Astro Meng doing? He's got Lamb, Rice, Daniels, Kyron Williams, Travis Hunter, David Montgomery, Laporta, Dak, and Goff. So I assume this was related to wanting a Goff on your team there. But he did have Laporta and Montgomery. So I can't begrudge him too much for taking Goff, if that's what you were referring to. Let's queue up Stroud, because I think the Collins drafter is in the 11 hole, and they may be looking to. So I don't think I will get Goff if I push him. I'm okay passing on these other skill position players there. We will take CJ Stroud here to pair with the rookie Jaden Higgins and his guaranteed contract. So like how the team is coming out. I feel like I now have a little bit of breathing room. I can take one of the skill position players that I like on the team. Yeah, he had 2 QBs. I realized that now. That does make that sting a little bit. But the 3 QB meta has warped people's minds into, like, not only do I need 3 QBs, but I need all 3 of them, like, to be part of my primary receiver stacks, which is not the worst thing, but you do see people passing on values at skill position players, and we may be in shark jumping territory. Who aim says, Steve, yeah, it's just week 1. Didn't notice if you scroll further, it says 9-4 to 9-5, 9-4 to 9-8 games. That is a very, very odd contest. I went from really cool to like kind of weird. I gotta say, yeah, I gotta think about that a little bit. Loveland is fine. Goddard is fine too. Kyle Williams, though, I think I gotta just take Kyle Williams to stack with Drake May. I don't love Kyle Williams. I mean, I think it's possible we are drafting like the wide receiver 5 in New England, but he tells a story, and we do have this New England stack, so we'll add him. We'll add him to the team. QJ has been rising in my board and everyone's board. Mike Williams there on the pup list. Trey Harris holding out with all the second round rookies. So QJ is unfortunately becoming a better click and creeping up. Tyler slammed the like. Yes, it has been 24 minutes and 18 seconds, and I have not asked you to slam the like or sub. I would love if you could do both, but I understand. But yes, please, if you can, it helps support this channel. So thank you. Yes, who aims? Appreciating the reminder. Steve said that he wasn't going crazy. He'll have some teams, but it's a bit weird. Yeah, it is weird. It is a very odd. It is an odd promo for them to be running. Yeah, Greg, it's like ahead of ADP as your third quarterback when you already have. I think he already had one elite quarterback. Is a touch aggressive. Honestly, if you focus week 1, you could probably get your money back pretty easily. Yeah. Well, yeah. I doubt a lot of people will notice. Well, no, yeah. If everyone's paying attention, you're gonna see like this will be the day to get your Jordan Addison shares. Maybe we can find some values if people get really sweaty for that contest. Maybe we get some fallers on like people that you're worried about, like a Godwin or a Ayuk type. But we will see. Crander 47, I feel like a lot of people drafting 3 QBs are getting QBs at the expense of other positions and aren't meaningfully. Yeah, that's the risk, right? Is that people take these lessons on board and then they kind of go a little bit overboard in them, and they end up becoming a net negative to their team rather than something that is a benefit. So there goes Tua. Let me think, because I would not mind getting a third quarterback on this team. But you know what? Not necessarily at the expense of anything. I think Jake Ferguson is fine, and this will enable me to stop at 2 tight ends with McBride and Fergie. Just take a little bit of ADP value on him there. These backup running backs are all fine. Leggett and Betch are fine, but I think that makes a little bit more sense for the team. Maybe I could have waited and tried to get Hunter Henry and done a Drake May triple, but I think there is a meaningful difference between Ferguson and Hunter Henry that, I've already have May double stacked. So that's just going to be the bet I make there. Al Boogie, anyone know a lawyer who can break down the fine prints on the DK contest? Yeah, if you hear of a good lawyer, let me know. I know of a lawyer, but a good lawyer might be a little bit of a stretch, and that's who we need for that. We got the guy right here. Oh God, well, maybe Terrence Charles. He's been hanging out in the chat. I hear he is a lawyer. Don't know if he's on today, but let's see. Al Boogie, you know what? Yeah, yes, I am unfortunately by trade a lawyer. All right, let's see who aims. I'll have CMC and Puka super high for week 1 day. I actually, you know what, who aims? I don't actually know the week 1 schedule, and I feel like I should because I've been playing more eliminator stuff. So I should learn that. Cam Ward goes. I would have taken Cam Ward. Let's see, at quarterback. If I want another quarterback that I know is playing, it would be Darnold or Rodgers. I know I just talked about not like sacrificing stuff for the third QB, but I don't think I'm passing too much in this range, taking Rodgers, and then I could, likely end this team with Calvin Austin type, take another couple late running backs and kind of get out of here. I feel like that's not too bad. For the audio listeners, now we've got Drake May, CJ Stroud, and an unstacked Aaron Rodgers glowering at everybody else. Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane, Chuba Hubbard at running back, Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, Steph Diggs, Josh Downs, Jaden Higgins, and Kyle Williams at receiver, and then Trey McBride and Jake Ferguson at tight end. So I'll pull the board back up. Let's see what Mooncat has done since the great Goff snipe. He had to make it up with Travis Etienne, Caleb Williams, T-Law, Cedric Tillman, Brenton Strange, and Tank Bigsby. So you know what? You didn't get Goff, but you have been able to build out a nice Jags backstack there. I don't think you're not the Hunter team, right? No, it was a backstack, but that's fine. I like the T-Law options late. I like Brenton Strange quite a bit. I think he's one of the nicer ADP values in that range. Whohame says, best ball overlay added the entire schedule so you can show every week if you want. Oh, nice. Yeah. So no more need to chart for my chart. BBO just has it. I need to, I'm going to capitulate soon on best ball overlay. What's sad, Al Boogie, is I know Chad Candles IRL and did not make the connection until Greg's. I need more coffee. Yes, yeah, I do. I know Steve. I know Steve in real life, actually. Weirdly enough, a total small world situation. I saw him comment on a fantasy dog pound stream, and I'm like, I know that name in that thumbnail. I'm like, oh my god, that's Steve. Like I knew Steve. You had started doing fantasy content, and then and so I just frantically messaged you, and I just couldn't believe that, it just weird coincidence there that someone I know in real life is here. But let's see. I've just capitulated to Big Dylan Sampson. I have Jerry Jeudy on the team. I literally think I had stone zero Sampson. So I'll take a Sampson share here, try to catch up on that a little bit. I know Whohames, I'm sorry I passed on Pat Bryant, but I think for this team, this will be a Calvin Austin as my final receiver on the crew in all likelihood. And he's a name now in pick 170 that I do want to start adding a little bit, because he was fine even before the potential, Judkins risk. And now I think he's kind of a priority in this range, because I don't think he's going to fall. Like, this is kind of where he went before, but he could end up being a big riser. Boogie. Yeah, it is it is an early start. Let's see where Calvin Austin goes. So I'm at 185. If I can, I will not push him. Let's see if Mooncat takes the Slappy King, Diami Brown, for his stack. The over in poor Davis tried to do he was doing a stream, and all the chat wanted to talk about was Diami Brown, and he was absolutely sick of it. So every time I see Diami Brown now, I think of just the great chat revolt, because people were for some reason just really thirsty for Diami Brown. Mooncat says, I've had enough, however. I am good. I do not need more Diami Brown on this team. I don't care if I have him stacked. So, but Cree 76, he's got to get his guy. So I'll have Calvin Austin queued up. If Calvin Austin goes, then I will queue up Miles Sanders here. And then maybe if we want to tell ourselves a Roman Wilson story, we can do that. Tempted to almost do that, because I feel like Miles Sanders is kind of an interesting click versus the other running backs. But you know what? Let's just take Calvin Austin. I think he really is, at this point, the number 2. I don't really want Aaron Rodgers to be completely unstacked, although he's fine enough as on his own. So I will optimistically have Miles Sanders queued up. We've got a 3-4-7-2 team with Drake May, CJ Stroud, Aaron Rodgers, running back room of CMC, Devon Achane, Chuba Hubbard, and Dylan Sampson, wide receivers of Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, Steph Diggs, Josh Downs, Jaden Higgins, Kyle Williams, and Calvin Austin, and tight ends of Trey McBride and Jake Ferguson. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to add one more running back, and then the question is, what do we add after that? I could definitely see an argument for a third tight end, or I could see an argument for another running back or receiver. So I'm not 100% sure how I want to land this plane, right? I mean, I did use very early draft capital on 3 running backs, but then my next pick wasn't till 176. So, I could definitely, I think stopping at 5 still makes sense, but if there was some great value there, if we're talking about the running back hitting our flex, I don't think it would be terrible to do that. I mean, it's not like the wide receivers in this range are, guaranteed to add points to your lineup anyway. A third tight end, I feel like, makes the team a little more kind of sturdy going through the playoff gauntlet. But, McBride, we're taking him as an elite tight end. We're sort of envisioning him carrying the torch, and it's not like Jake Ferguson is a bad player. He should be able to carry the load there. So we will see what happens. Whohame's debating a Dalmatian for my stream today. Oh, nice. I have not done any Dalmatians yet. But I'm going to soon. I'm going to get in those streets and do my 3 at some point. Al Boogie says Davis was also down on D-Rob last year, who was just scoring TDs. Yeah, D-Rob just found a way to get there and just just be like a total nuisance to everybody. But yeah, he was definitely a D-Rob bear, and unfortunately D-Rob ended up being like a decent enough fantasy asset. Almost feel like maybe taking Dalton Schultz. I'll just add Dalton Schultz to this team. I think that's going to be fine with my Stroud stack, and then I will take one more running back here. Again, I don't have another New England receiver this late that I really want to add. It's not like I could any kind of like falling Demario Douglas type. He goes earlier than this. And Stroud, they have enough, with Jalen Noel, he's kind of the last draftable receiver on that team, I think. In Aaron Rodgers, I don't really want to like double stack him with a second late receiver. So we're just going to take one of our favorite clicks here. Brashard Smith, he is one of my favorite clicks, but not the name I was scrolling to. We're going to queue up Taj Brooks here and just hope that we are getting the RB2 in Cincinnati. Let's see if he goes, then I'm going to I need a backup plan. I'd just take Keaton Mitchell, which I think is the contingent back for for Derrick Henry. I think Hill is going to have his role. That's kind of just be what his role is. So this team ends up being a 3-5-7-3. We've got Drake May, CJ Stroud, Aaron Rodgers, running back room, Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane, Chuba Hubbard, and then Dylan Sampson and Taj Brooks. Wide receiver room of Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, Steph Diggs, Josh Downs, Jaden Higgins, Kyle Williams, and Calvin Austin. So a little light, but not the end of the world. I feel like there's definitely some upside in this wide receiver room. And then a tight end room of Trey McBride, Jake Ferguson, and Dalton Schultz. I could definitely see the argument for Dalton Schultz being another kind of upside swing at running back. Week 14 for running back could be pretty dicey. I'm going to need one of Sampson or Taj Brooks to be hitting my lineup, but hopefully by week 14, one of those two actually has some kind of role. Before we get out of here, let's see how Mooncat, aka Greg, landed the plane after adding Tank Bigsby. He took Mason Taylor, Cade Otton, Daniel Jones, and Rashard Smith. My webcam was covering that pick, so I had to lean around. So not bad there, Mooncat. Not bad. I think he recovered from Goff going there. I am going to pull up another one. So if you guys want to hop in, I'll count it down from 5. We are going to get into another mini schnauzer here. If anyone wants to do this tournament is going to fill fast. I don't know if I'll be able to get 20 in, but we're going to try. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are in, waiting for 5. So there is time if you want to get in. All right. Let's see. Does Rodgers rush enough to take naked? No, Hartman. But my thought is that sometimes you just need that QB score to get you over the hump. I think a lot of the difference between advancing and not is usually something like 20 points or less. Like it's, one QB score versus like not having that can literally make or break it. And I think he's more likely to hit my lineup in some of those spots. And I knew I could backstack him. But I get the argument that we've gotten too frothy with the 3 QB stuff, but I'm going to use Steve, he's in here as an example. He made it to the big board finals and finished 4th, and he had Naked Baker on his team, and Naked Baker hit his lineup in week 16, and that enabled him to get to the finals. If he did not have that pick, he would not have made it through. And Steve, I apologize if that's wrong, but that's how I recollect that story. So, that's just one example of times when, the unstacked QB can actually get you there. This is a absolute beast of a room here, by the way. James Davis was also a bull on Bond and Neal in the big board. Yeah, I think I have 16% Isaiah Bond in the big board. Not great. So we've got Who Ames in the 1. We've got UCF Jaguar in the 3. We have got Lutz in the 9. We've got Steve in the 10. And if I missed you, please identify yourself. My goodness, this is going to be an absolute murderer's row in this room. But you know what? When you have a room like this, you just got to lean into your strengths. And Jahmyr Gibbs, he is an absolute monster. I'm more than happy to have him on the team in the 6 hole. I prefer to have if I'm going to pick in the middle, I like a 6 more than 7 because I really like this top 6. I think there's a little bit of a tier break. Maybe you consider CMC in that tier. I certainly am sympathetic to that. But I feel like these picks kind of make themselves in the top 6. And let's see what Steve does there at the 10. Who Hames, of course, he takes Jamar Chase at the 1. Lutz in here. He gets Nico Collins. All right. Steve says, Who Hames, curious, you're reading the DK promo to include slows today as well. It only talks about entering. Interesting question. And Steve, I have not read that myself, so I apologize. I can't really weigh in with my thoughts. Alboogie, Davis is learning to get out of Dynasty Brain. He's really great at breaking and analyzing player profiles with drafting like you're advancing 0 teams like he did in playoff best ball. Yeah, I mean, Davis knows a ton of ball. Davis is very sharp, and he got very unlucky last year with a lot of the injury luck. Like I think, if Rashee Rice is healthy, he's not making like advanced rate jokes. He's, I'm sure he gets far more teams into the playoffs, and we just don't know. I mean, Playoff best ball is another animal. I did not do very well in playoff best ball myself. I thought I knew what I was doing. I need to go back to the drawing board because somehow like my my teams were not great. And I think it's because I didn't have much. Was it Saquon? I for some reason was like had it in my head like, oh, I'm gonna fade him, and that was like not the stand you wanted to make. Let's see. After Jahmyr Gibbs, let's just we'll go by ADP. We'll take Lad McConkey. Huhaim says it's 65% now. I wanted to wait. I don't know if are you talking about this tournament? I'm sorry, I missed that context. Steve did 3 Dalmatians on slow, entered 3 different days to make sure I'm not drafting against the same guys. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When I did the 101 Dalmatians, I was doing them in blocks of 15, so I wouldn't be against the same exact people with every single draft. GM Lutz, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Huhaim says place an entry only eligible in US. Oh no, Canada. Yeah, Canada, who does not pay tax on gambling winnings. However, they are not eligible for this DK promo. So it evens out for us Americans here. Huhaim says America. Huhaim's got my spot. Mike Deck 22. Oh, nice. Thank you. Let's see, Mike Deck 22. Are you absolute dog? I forgot. I apologize. I try to keep track of everyone's username, and I'm behind in the chat. Mike Deck 22. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. Huhaim says it's not my stream. I'm allowed to draft up top. And UCF Jaguar in the 3 spot. Nice. UCF Jaguar, thank you so much for coming in this morning. We've got Jahmyr Gibbs. We've got Lad McConkey. And let's see, do we add Marvin Harrison or Garrett Wilson? Do we throw everyone off by taking an elite quarterback? You will have to wait and find out. Mostly because I have not made my decision of what I want to do here. I don't find myself taking a lot of elite QB, but maybe this wouldn't be the worst room for it. Breece Hall goes. I'm going to take Garrett Wilson. I do really like Garrett Wilson, and I'm just going to get my guys in this room. That was not a bye week thing. I don't really care if Gibbs and MHJ have the same bye week here. Steve says Baker hit my lineup week 17 as well. Yeah, see, Steve, I didn't even know that. I thought he was just an advanced rate bridge in that tournament. Steve says, but a better example of the 2 for 3 QBs was the BBM 6 winner. I think you mean 4 winner were essentially unstacked, not total unstacked. Stroud and Tua stacked with only Mostert, not really a pass catcher. No way that guy makes the playoffs without them. Yeah. And so it's always hard to glean specific examples because it's such small sample size, but it's not just those examples. It's like the data they run have shown it. So Steve, thank you for reminding me because Steve, it's fine. It's fine. I knew what you meant. I knew I'm not great with Roman numerals, so I'm like sounding it out. And I'm like, okay, I think he means 4 here, but yeah, you're right. Like we've now seen it multiple times through the history of this contest that unstacked QB is not like the end of is not like the end of the world. The data says for BRs, people don't take unstacked QB enough. And so again, I'm not using this as like a stalking horse for taking unstacked Burrow. I don't think that's good because Burrow goes so high that the draft capital is bad. But in the back end of the drafts, like you're taking backup running backs, you're taking second and third, receivers on teams. So it's my pick, and I'm deciding if I want to do a Goff double. You know what? No, I don't want to do that. Yes, I do. Go Lions. We're gonna take Jameson Williams and take him with Gibbs. We're just gonna lean into the Lions there. But yes, the players you're taking, like, if we scroll down to where Sam Darnold goes, right? Like Sam Darnold's up here with like Will Shipley, Sampson, Alec Pierce, Michael Wilson. Like the likelihood that Darnold hits your lineup over those guys in that range it's just like significantly more likely to help. Now, the caveat, of course, is if Will Shipley's hitting your lineup, it might be because Saquon Barkley's injured and Will Shipley is a giga smash. So I'm not saying like always take the unstacked QB in this range. But there's no guarantee that like any of these players that aren't Darnold are going to be any good or really like be who you need or in your particular roster are going to be hitting your lineup. So, you know, I think taking the kind of late unstacked QB is fine. Like Baker last year was going very late. Yes, absolutely. Awesome, Mike Deck. Thank you so much for coming in. Gotta be honest, I don't think I can recap everyone's team as we are drafting, but I will try to keep track of everybody. And I do want to do a third draft. So at 9:20, I'm probably going to start another one and do a short bit of multi-tabling. So we will see. But yes, again, thank you everyone for coming in. Who Hames, he gets the Burrow Chase McBride week 17 stack. He does not risk pushing Burrow in this room. UCF Jaguar. All right, we'll go over yours in a second. I am on the clock. I cannot get the draft board to close. Walker is, I know I'm not a big bye week bro, but I'm gonna lean Kamara over Walker. I do rate both of them somewhat similarly, and I'm gonna vary it up, and I'll take Kamara there. So let's see. UCF Jaguar, he's got Jefferson, Higgins, Jacobs, Cook, and Devonta. So Who Hames, again, he does not risk the chance that the Higgins drafter gets Burrow. I think that's certainly understandable. Absolute dog with Lamb, Bowers, Hall, Pickens, and Chuba Hubbard. Like to start there. Lutz, 3 RBs, and then Omarion Hampton, Nico, BTJ, JSN, Omarion Hampton, and Zay Flowers. Nice fall in Zay Flowers. Did not get all the way back to the Lamar drafter. That would have been pretty nice for them. Steve, our friend and big Commanders fan. You love to see this. Puka Nacua, Drake London, and then the Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels stack. That is nice. You had someone who wanted elite QB, Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, and you were able to dodge the sniper there. But of course, this person did have AJ Brown, so Jalen Hurts made sense for that team. All right. We are all caught up. UCF Jaguar says that was a good move. He wasn't making it back. Well, Who Hames, first of all, is a very sharp drafter. And secondly, the tell you can sometimes get is if the Higgins drafter takes Devonta like early. Like if you taken Devonta at 46 and Hurts was there, sometimes you can like hope that the Higgins drafter goes the Hurts route instead of the Burrow route. But that obviously was never in question here. Jalen Hurts went all the way on the side of the board. So yes, if you are in the one hole and you want Burrow, you're probably got to just jam him in there like Who Hames did. Coming up for us, Romo Dunze was potentially an ADP value there. I really like Chris Godwin. He is pretty nice, but you know what? I'm going to take Caleb. With Judkins falling out of that, this range, it's a little thinner at running back, and I'm going to get another receiver I like at 78, whereas running back might have dried up by then. So I'll add Caleb to the team and start out with 3 running backs and 3 receivers here. Let's see. Who Hames says 2/3 of the time I push 2/3 and 1/3 of the time I just take Burrow. Yeah. I think that makes sense. Like you're going to end up really underweight if you just never do it, kind of like I am. I'm way underweight on Burrow, so I certainly think that it makes sense, because if that's the stack you need, you're not really going to care if you got him, at the 4-5 turn or the 6-7 turn. Like different player combinations can get you there. If it's literally like, okay, it's week 17 and Burrow throws 3 touchdowns to Chase, or that's the exact stack you need. Who Hames adding Golden and Diggs to the team. So you know what, Who Hames, after starting Chase and then not taking a receiver through 5, Metcalf, Golden, and Diggs, pretty nice. I gotta say, I like the way you caught up at receiver. That's a pretty good looking team there. UCF Jaguar, he's added Pearsall and Swift. I'm back on the clock. I know I said there was a receiver I'd like, but it's Jacoby Myers. Dear God, do I take the triple? You know what? We're going to do it. We're going to go Lions triple stack and take Sam Laporta on the team. We've got Gibbs. we've got JMO. Now we've got Slammin' Sammy Laporta on the team. I don't think anyone calls him that, but you know what? We are going to do it. So our friend Mike Deck 22, aka Absolute Dog, he gets Godwin and Mooney. That made sense on that team, adding a couple of receivers there. Lutz with Travion and Pacheco. Steve reaches for the last lifeboat of running back in this area, taking Tony Pollard. Although I think Steve is okay taking B-Rob. I think you've taken him there. Wow, Aaron Jones is rising. 84. This must be Judkins related. This must be people pulling him up because he was in the 90s, I swear, yesterday. Very interesting there. Luke says, not sure why Zay has been falling, but I've been loading up. Who aims says Zay and Worthy both. Yeah, I agree. I don't know why Flowers is falling. I think people, you know, he will have those random down games. Like there will be games where he just isn't that involved, and you know the Ravens do like to run. They're going to be playing in a lot of really good game scripts, and if the Ravens get a big lead and Zay Flowers isn't a part of that, he might just like literally do nothing, and that seems to happen to him. But you know he's still probably good for around 1,000-yard receiver, potential big spike week guy. A super talented young player. Bateman's always like an injury risk. Like I think that's perfectly fine there. All right, we are here at pick 92. You know what? Let's take a guy I don't take an absolute ton of, but I'll take a Igbuka share here. Let's swing for a little upside. I find myself taking enough Cup. Higgins I like. Don't think I needed another running back. Fields would have been fine there, but I'm okay without like Justin Fields, team number 780. We'll try something a little different in this room and see what the room gives to us. Let's see. Steve, he took B-Rob. So Steve, as I said, is a B-Rob guy. So he now gets he has Connor, Pollard, and B-Rob. So that shakes out good for him. That Zoo Wildlife just kept on pissing and did not take another back. I don't know. Again, I don't know if you would have reached up for Mason there. Interesting choice. But yeah, Aaron Jones, 85. My goodness. Rough Buff, he takes Mahomes and Baker there. He stacks Baker with Bucky Irving. Kind of interesting there. Not a receiver, but you can sell it yourself on the vision. Absolute Dog, he gets Jordan Mason. UCF Jaguar, he catches the falling knife on Judkins at 94. Huhame's adding Warren and Higgins. All right. Let's see. Coming up to us. I would be surprised if Fields makes it just because of people's affinity for taking him unstacked. If Fields goes, then I think I will take... my heart wants Scatabo. My head says I should take another wide receiver. We'll see. If I don't take Scatabo, there is stone zero chance he will come back to me. But you know what? I will take Justin Fields a little past ADP. I think that's fine. Stacking Fields and Wilson there. The other issue I'm going to run into is Herbert goes at 125. Goff goes at 118. I pick at 115. So I probably won't get both. I really hope I can get Goff. If I get sniped on Goff, then I'm just going to take Herbert. I do have to dodge the Amon Ra drafter. They do have Lamar, but this guy is live to take Goff from me. I don't really want to reach for Goff at 102. So, I don't want to get out of this 9-10 round with only one wide receiver, one quarterback. So that was the thought process in actually taking Fields there. All right. Huhames, it says Steve, I'm going to focus week 16 on Dalmatian. I think there's an edge to just focusing on week 16 Huhames. I honestly do. I think, week 17 is great and all, but I've really come around to the you got to get there first, bro, like life. And if week 16 gets you there, then you're just going to show up in week 17 with different player combinations than like week 17 bros who are going to have a lot of stuff like correlated, but there's no guarantee you even like hit the right pieces of those games. Like sometimes I almost feel like week 17 is a box that we tick and it makes us feel good about our lives, but is it really going to give us that big of an edge when we get to week 17? I don't know. It's just something I've been kind of like mulling over a little bit. I'm not saying not to stack week 17, but I feel like you end up pairing players together a lot that are otherwise completely uncorrelated and could end up just like leading you astray and away from different player combinations that might just be like better. So anyway, Steve, I was going to say, Steve, I'm like, well, you need to take Cam Scatabo. Well, Tony the Llama jumps in between and takes Scatabo. I hope he's a Scatabo slappy, because Scatabo does deserve a good home. I'm going to queue up Goff and hope that this guy doesn't take him ahead of Dak and Drake May. That would be kind of weird. Yeah, I'm not going to push Goff. There is no reason to do that. Not with Gibbs, JMO, and Laporta on the team. So I'll go over the team for the audio listeners. We've got Justin Fields, Jared Goff at quarterback, Jahmyr Gibbs, Alvin Kamara, Caleb Johnson at running back, Ladd McConkey, Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, and Emeka Egbuka at receiver, and Sam Laporta at tight end. So not super deep yet at receiver. Definitely need to start adding to that. A little afraid that our wide receivers are going to get away from us, but we're not too bad with Ladd, Wilson, and JMO as our starting kind of starting three. So a series of quarterbacks go after me. We've got Mike Deck 22 taking Dak. That makes sense. He's got Lamb. JJ McCarthy goes. I think he's not the Jefferson drafter. It's the Addison drafter. It's always the Addison drafter. The panicky Addison drafter always takes JJ McCarthy. It's like they have like a complex. So UCF Jaguar, I don't know if you were planning to take McCarthy, but Tucker Kraft, nice consolation prize. Who Hames, he gets Drake May to stack with Steph Diggs, and the board rolls around. UCF Jaguar, I love that Kraft stack. That's pretty nice. And you've got Josh Jacobs, so nice thing that you have put together there. Boy, I said I was going to fire up another draft, and this is going to be tough, but I might just have to do it. Steve is not big on B-Rob overall, but a Washington stack, he'll do it past ADP. Makes sense. It did not feel good to take Judkins. Tony broke my heart. Scatabo, snipe. Yeah, I had already penciled in Scatabo. Over to you. Now, do we take Justin Herbert or do we take Bateman here? You know what? No, we're just going to do it. We're going to do the slappy triple. We're going to put pressure on the rest of the room as far as the three quarterbacks. I'm going to stack Ladd. I'm going to stack Garrett Wilson. I'm going to stack JMO. We are going to do the 3 QB at all costs that I vaguely criticized people for doing. And just hope that we know enough ball to take good late receivers. But I don't know. I just couldn't pass on it. That might be bad. Maybe Bateman would have been a better pick on this team. But I want to put a little pressure on the other people who haven't taken quarterbacks. And I didn't think I was going to get all three of these, and it kind of fell that way. So we're gonna take it and see what happens. Steve said, well, another BBM example, the winner had major Bengals and 49er team stacks, but 0 bringbacks from the Broncos or Lions. There we go. There we go, Steve. I mean, people adhere to these rules, and we just don't know. Darkside Dev, I think week 17 is a good way to justifying with other guys. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the ways you stack week 17 is you do team stacks, right? Like you just say this team is going to go off. And that is like another way to think of it, right? Like, in the bring back, there's not always one player as far as a bring back that you need. Like you can build big game stacks. Like it's almost to the point in DFS where the bring back is overdone and is no longer adding value. So I think just making big correlated team bets is like the real way to play week 17. If we open our third eye, UCF Jaguar was going to take McCarthy. Steve says, I think we overhype week 17 because it's one of the few things we can control in the season, so we hyper-focus. I think you're right. It's like we need to be able to tick boxes. We look at a team and we say it's well-constructed because it has X, Y, and Z, and we need to do that. And I'm with you, Steve. I think people are opening their third eye, to this. I'll just take Hollywood Brown a little past ADP. I think that's... No. What am I doing? I'm taking QJ. I'm taking QJ because I do have Herbert, and I just said I wanted more QJ, and I know it's ugly, and I can't believe I'm actually saying that earnestly, but yeah, I'm going to take Quentin Johnson. Harbaugh guy, Mike Williams on the pup. We are going to do that. Hames, I was expecting UCF Jaguar to take May naked. I was looking for Kraft to do the same thing. The Love Kraft stack. I could unironically see that being what you need. I'm very, very, very in on that, on both those guys. Darkside Dev prefers a team stack, never care about week 17. Yeah, I mean, you can care about week 17 by building a good team stack. Hames lives in chaos. Al Boogie says, Steve, maybe that's why I finished 11th and not first, but I agree with you. This is Al Boogie flexing his 11th place finish, but yeah, I mean, Al Boogie, you may not have made it there if you overdid that stuff. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hop into this. I'm gonna hop into another schnauzer. I'm gonna focus primarily on this one that all of you are in, but I want to get a third draft in before 10. So if you guys, this is just fired off. So again, I'm going to primarily do this one here. I want to focus on this one because, again, all of you guys got into it, and I don't want to rug you guys, but also I will have to abandon the stream if I will have to abandon the stream. Sorry, I'm up. I told you, I warned you about the multitasking. I warned you all that the multitasking is dicey. Let's take Cedric Tillman. I think that's fine. I think that's fine there. Maybe one of these running backs would have been a better pick, but I kind of got ahead of myself. But yeah, I don't want to run past 10. I don't want to run too far past 10, and but I also don't want to cut the stream early. So let's see. Did anybody get in here? I don't think so. I'm sorry. That one's snap filled anyway, so it was kind of hopeless. But we'll keep the other board up as much as we can. All right, Lutz is on the clock. All right. Yeah, I know it's not the best viewer experience to be multi-tabling. It's very hard to keep up with everything going on. So I will pull that one up when it's oh my gosh, what have I done? Okay. All right. Let's see. Also, gentle reminder, please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. We are on the road to 200. I was at 133 subs as of yesterday. So really trying to get those numbers up before the season starts, because we're going to keep on doing stuff. We're going to do BRs. I love battle royales. I think they're super fun. So, this we're not going anywhere. Even after hot best ball summer, there is a future on the horizon. And I'm looking forward to doing it with all of you. But you know what? Right now, we're not thinking about that. We are deep in best ball summer, and this is so much fun to be running these contests with all of you guys. Let's see who Hames. He takes Likely and Benson there. Makes sense for him. I think he was in need of another tight end. Oh yeah, he had McBride. So let's see if he stops at 2, or if that is the 2 they get. Adds Trey Benson to his week 17 game, and also one of the better contingent value bets there. Let's see for us what is going to make sense. Mason Taylor is stacked. This is a little early for Taylor. I don't think I need to do that. Probably want to add a running back to the team. I don't take much Jaden Blue. However, I will take Jaden Blue, almost 20 picks past ADP on this team. So we'll add a Jaden Blue share to the crew. The other draft I have taken Malik Neighbors and BTJ, which is kind of a nice start. I'll pull that one up after, again, just so that I don't leave you all high and dry. Let's see. Steve has since taken Jalen Wright and Brenton Strange. I like those picks. Lutz took Josh Palmer and Demario Douglas. Lutz, you are not the Josh Allen drafter. You denied Tony the Llama. You know what? Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking. Oh no, he passed on Josh Palmer. So forget that. I was going to say he was the Scatabo sniper. Tony the Llama prevented Steve from getting a Cam Scatabo share. So Tony the Llama is on the bad list. So boo Tony the Llama. Absolute dog. He double taps quarterbacks in picks 13 and 14 with Bryce Young and Geno Smith. Again, this is one of those stacks you can get Bryce Young and the get. Bryce Young, you can also pair with Thielen or later on Coker. So Young is a nice pick in this range because he's pretty backstackable. And then Geno Smith, I don't think you were. Oh no, you were the Bowers guy. Okay, nice. So you are able to make that stack. Huhames adds Aaron Rodgers and Jack Betch. I think you have Metcalf. So nice getting Rodgers there. QB, it's down to Sam Darnold. This guy next to me only has one quarterback. My God, he only has Kyler, and that's what'll happen in these rooms where 3 QB is the meta. Is that the QBs just go flying off the board. Jonnu Smith at 176 feels a little like we have perhaps jumped the shark. I'll take him here. I think that's perfectly fine. This is pretty darn late for a guy that they went out of their way to get, and I think is going to potentially have some spike weeks. I will take him here. We were taking this guy around pick 100, and yeah, it's definitely I don't think it's as good being over in Pittsburgh, but I don't want to end up with none of him. I'll take him well past ADP there. I know ADP has not fully adjusted, but I do think that's pretty darn late. So Absolute Dog, he adds Will Shipley. Makes sense. Love Will Shipley in this range. This guy does take Darnold, so he gets his second quarterback. Lutz takes Miles Sanders. Love the Miles Sanders click there. I've been taking a ton of him. Steve-O, I know Steve-O is an Adam Thielen guy. That makes sense there. So you know what? I put up my phone so that I could get so that I wouldn't auto the other draft, and then I would keep this one up because we're all invested in this draft. And I put it over where the comment section was. My goodness, this is the problem with them moving to 20-second drafts. Is it is very hard to multitask with all that going on. But so Thielen goes to Steve-O here. Let's see. My God, I have completely abandoned the chat here. Chad said, "You all too sharp. I'm going to play by myself." No, I just don't want to. I wanted to stream up till 10. I wanted to stream up till 10, and I was afraid I would have to cut it like at an awkward time. But again, you all made the effort to get in this room, so I do not want to. I don't want to abandon you all in here. CBK in there. CBK, gosh, I am doing too many things to know what CBK is. I'll take an Alec Pierce share. I think that's fine. I don't think any of these other picks are make sense for any kind of stack or anything there. I missed out on my guy Mason Taylor here. The 12 hole snapped off two running backs there. Alboogie says, one of my thoughts that I've been thinking about is just team stacking. If you can stack explosive offenses like last year's BBM 5 winner, you have a good shot in the playoffs. Many people are saying, Alboogie, I think we're, I really agree with you. I think like theory crafting, I think people are very rigid. People are, paint by numbers. And I maybe that's what you need to win, but I think thinking outside the box a little bit really might be an advantage. Sorry, everyone, I had a Liam moment where no, Alboogie, I'm totally joking. Like, I don't remind people that I won the divisional round BR. Like, I don't need to tell people that, right? Like, we don't need to we don't just mention those things because nobody wants that. Alboogie, there are always ways it helps. I don't know if it's always important for the QB stacks. I am on the clock. My heavens, people. Let's take Richard here. I think that's fine. I think Richard is fine on this team. Yeah. I was thinking of taking Jarquez Hunter. I know that's Huhames is like one of Huhames' big stands. I don't think I have any like late Lion or Charger that I like absolutely need on this team. He didn't have, but he did have the bringbacks of Lamb versus Amon-Ra, but he won because of the Love Reed stack. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense there. Blue is so fast you can't possibly bust Hartman. I think Blue is not good. I think Blue absolutely can bust. I know you're joking, but my God, if opposing teams let him run in a straight line, then he is going to be a problem in the NFL. Steve says his bring back to that game was Madison, who didn't count but was negative value all year. Yep. So I mean, you could make the argument that like he probably forced the Madison bring back. I don't remember exactly how that played out, but I that might have been his thought process of like, oh, let me get this bring back, and that easily could have like cost you an advance rate, like jamming those kind of things in. Oh yeah, Love and Reed. I remember his team was weird. He didn't tell his girlfriend for over a year. Yeah. I think last I heard he was like just like in Ibiza, like living the life. Like good for him, man. good for him. I get it. You bink one of these contests and you just ride gloriously into the sunset. I think I'm gonna add a third tight end to this team. Our Jonnu is fine, but oh no, it's Dalton Schultz. I can't believe I'm taking another Dalton Schultz team, but I'm just gonna take another Dalton Schultz. I think that's fine. No, I'm not. Can I get Mitchell? I'm gonna take Keaton Mitchell. I didn't take a fourth running back after Blue. I think Keaton Mitchell is pretty big contingent upside. With Laporta and Jonnu, I'm gonna treat it like I would have early on in the cycle, and I'm going to treat it like early on in the cycle where Jonnu was kind of elite and you would feel comfortable with this. I think there's Keaton Mitchell, if something happens to Derrick Henry, Keaton Mitchell, I think could legitimately be a league winner. I have a hard time thinking Dalton Schultz contributes a lot unstacked on this team. So we will take Dalton Schultz there. I'm going to recap everybody's team. After I recap everybody's team, I'm going to hop over to that other tournament already in progress for you. But again, I think, I think it is more fun talking with all of you and going over, hanging out in chat here. Huhames never takes DK Metcalf, will lean in with Rodgers. That makes sense there. Steve, another good thing is his late round, not to bring back players, but grab good or better players like a Thielen who stayed this season. Yep. Again, you could end up easily just forcing bringbacks and stuff. Steve is in the overflow, almost auto. Luckily had the 12th pick, so could back to back. Sorry, Steve. I apologize. I apologize for that. But yeah, if I started a draft now, I would not finish it. Huhames, I hated Zay in the 4th. Always thought he should be in the mid-5th. Maybe others came to the same conclusion. I don't know. I didn't take a ton of him, but I think him falling is a little unusual, because if you zoom out, he is a pretty good best ball pick. I would have taken Miles Sanders if Lutz didn't take him, but when he was gone, not forcing another Cowboys bring back. Yeah, I almost prefer Miles Sanders to Jaden Blue, but I don't want absolutely no Jaden Blue, because if somehow he is good at the next level, he is fast. Like, he's really, really fast. So the Cowboys did take him, and if they could make use of him, you never know. I don't want to have absolutely none of him, but he could be a Vidal where he's just like a 0 all year. Al-Boogie is a better click now and still passes, making those player stands. Hartman says, show us the trophy collection, Boogie. Yeah, we need to know everything else Boogie has won. Williams had 1.7 Zay 2 weeks ago, got 3.2, clicked him often. Hartman, I'm waiting. Al-Boogie, I'm waiting for my cactus too. I am still waiting for mine. Just drafted Fannin, feels good. Timid1387, thank you so much for coming in and drafting our favorite duck-footed player. Lutz agrees with Huhames. Been ending up on all of his teams. Huhames is going to draft Aaron Rodgers. Might as well go big. Steve totally autoed the next two in the overflow. Josh Allen going double elite. Oh God, you hate to see it. You hate to see it, Steve. Allen Daniels has gritty taken over the Fanspeak network. We will see. Huhames Lutz, I'm starting to pill Lamar into the middle of the 3rd and gets Huhames. I've been doing this too. I've been doing it from the 1 hole. You go Chase and MHJ or Tyreek or whomever your favorite 2nd round pick is, and then you take Lamar, and then you get Hurts at the 4-5 turn. Like you take Lamar here, and then you take Flowers here. Kind of unique. You're not going to get a lot of Jamar Chase, Lamar Jackson teams. I mean, they go literally on opposite sides of the board. I feel like that is a build I have been incorporating. So I'm with you. Huhames. I think there's something to that. I think there's something to do that. Lutz, you got to take your guys. Do not worry about it. I think Miles is too cheap. Mike Deck 22 went through some of my teams I like so far. So they both have absolutely brutal week 15 or 16 across multiple stacks. Do you weigh that at all? Mike Deck 22, if I had an overlay, I'd probably weigh it more, but I don't have those schedules memorized. And I think that could certainly be an edge. But the same way I'm talking about week 17, I think just the big team stacks, those big team bets that we like are probably, the same logic. We're probably going to be needing those to get there as well. Lutz, yeah, I feel like it's a great way to play it. I had almost no Lamar till recently. Joined me in my evil plan. Hey, Huhames, I'm in on the evil plan. Lutz, no worries, been taking him a fair amount. Alboogie 78. If I think I want to grow a beard like who, it's the only part of my face that grows hair. Beards are genetic, so I could grow this for a year and I would get nowhere near 5 years. I could get nowhere near Huhames. You either can do it or you can't. I am not on the list of beard, the elite tier of beard. So maybe you are, Al Boogie. I'm not saying you're not, but I'm just saying don't be disappointed. It's not your fault if it doesn't work. Lutz agrees with Huhames. Huhames, my last pick was Pat Firemouth when you go through the teams. Thank you, Huhames. I do appreciate that because it does not tell me. Huhames, Al Boogie, if you split it with me, I'll shave my beard so you can have my beard. Yes, we can have some kind of beard exchange program. If anyone needs a semi-patchy beard, let me know. I can, I'm a deep discount for this one here. Yeah, we will figure something out. Lutz loves that I don't use an overlay. Lutz, if I'm gonna be a small, if we're gonna be a fledgling operation here, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it our way and just try to, old school, no overlay. We'll see if that works. Timid says, can't believe Firemouth is going so late. He is good. Well, there's not a lot of teams that you're taking the second tight end. It's like Isaiah Likely. Am I missing another team where we take two tight ends? You gotta, in an offense that's not going to pass a lot. Like, I see why we're passing on Firemouth. Is there a world where Firemouth is the one and Jonnu's the two? Yeah, I don't put the odds very high, but I mean, it could happen, but I don't want to draft that way until we get some kind of word. So yeah, I'm kind of just Firemouth is tough. Hartman, I'm with you in the lower tier, Chad. We can't all have a beard like who. No, and if we could, it would make it not special. I don't know if that's the world I want to live in. All right, let's see. Let's go over some teams here, and then I'll pull up my other draft. So let's start with Huhames. Huhames with a 3-5-7-3 with Joe Burrow, Drake May, Aaron Rodgers. Nice quarterback room there. I know you said you don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I think you were smart taking him because that was the end of the QB tier, and you have DK Metcalf. Running back room of Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Warren, Tajay Spears, Trey Benson, and Justice Hill. Leaning into Taylor as the anchor RB. I like Warren with Rodgers. Rodgers famously does do a lot of dump offs, so I think that battery actually makes a ton of sense as far as one of the QB running back pairings. Tajay Spears, I like that pick. Benson, a little more contingency, and then Justice Hill. He's a nice, if you want a guy who's going to hit your lineup a few weeks, not a contingent back, in my opinion, kind of a standalone value. But I think he could have 2, 3, 4 spike weeks where when the Ravens need him, they use him a lot. So Justice Hill, I think he made a ton of sense, Huhames, on this team. Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, Matthew Golden, Steph Diggs, Jaden Higgins, Jack Best, Calvin Austin, no notes. Fantastic wide receiver room there. And then Trey McBride, Isaiah Likely. Yeah, I like the team, Huhames. I think you I think you made a pretty good team. And, Steelers stacks are not going to be popular, but I could definitely see them getting there. UCF Jaguar. Oh, and you had Firemouth too. I missed out on that. So now I actually feel extra bad about talking badly about Firemouth. But you know what? You're going in on the Steelers Giga stack. So I think that makes sense. Huhames don't love the RB room. Yeah, I mean, I think it's slightly thin, but if it gets there, it's going to get there in a big way. Spears, if it is more of a 50-50, he's going to be a smash where we take him. And if something happens to Pollard, he's, going to be a potential league winner kind of guy. I like that they, didn't add anyone other than Mullings, who I don't think we're really scared of taking any kind of work there. I didn't take a lot of spears in the big board because I thought they might add a third back, and I mean they did, but not anyone that we're like actively afraid of. Sorry, I'm making my pick on my other team that I don't have. I don't know if this team is even. I don't even know what's going to happen when I pull this board up. Anyway. All right, let's see. Steve says, to be fair, the Steelers will probably throw the ball 100 times more than the Ravens, and they don't have a second receiver like Bateman. That's fair. That's fair, Steve. And maybe we should be treating, Jonnu Firemouth as like a poor man's, Andrews likely. I see the vision. And maybe I need to kind of open my third eye to the, a team that's going to run a lot of 12 personnel, an incumbent who has shown flashes and upside and could definitely spike. All right, UCF Jaguar, you've got a 2-5-8-3 team on your hands with Purdy and Love. Running back room of Jacobs, Cook, Swift, Judkins, and Dylan Sampson. So you are buying the rise on Sampson there, but with Jacobs, Cook, Swift, and, I have not thought about Judkins and Sampson, but I actually feel like that makes a fair amount of sense. Yeah, I like your running back room. I think you did enough early running back firepower to kind of take this late round swing. Wide receiver room of Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Devonta Smith, Ricky Pearsall, Romeo Doubs, Diami Brown, Keenan Allen, Dontavian Wicks. Great room. Makes a lot of sense with your Love stack in Purdy. You also have Purdy with Pearsall. A nice team there. Tucker Kraft, we talked about him during the stream. Makes a lot of sense. And then Kincaid and Henry. Nice team there. UCF Jaguar. Absolute dog. You went 3-5-8-2 on your team with Dak, Bryce Young, Geno Smith there. Sorry, I'm on the clock in the other one. Dak, Bryce Young, Geno Smith. All right. That makes sense there. Sorry, I was trying to see. Did you have okay, so you backstacked Geno with another receiver after you already had Bowers. I like that. Breece Hall, Chuba Hubbard, Jordan Mason, Najee Harris, and Will Shipley. I like your running back room there. And Najee Harris, you're buying the dip there. We'll see if he has two eyes or not, and if he doesn't, maybe he's effective with an eye patch. We just don't know. But with Hall, Hubbard, and Mason, I think that's good. I might have added a sixth running back to this team, but I certainly get it. You've got Lamb and Pickens, so you've got the Dallas double stack there because you are the Dak drafter, so that makes sense. Darnell Mooney, Rashid Shaheed, Xavier Legette, Dante Thornton, Ray McLeod. I probably would have made Ray McLeod a running back, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just nitpicking a bit. I think you have a really strong wide receiver room there. That's, just kind of my 2 cents. And then Bowers and Jatavion Sanders makes sense. You leaned a lot into your anchor tight end. But yeah, overall, I like the team. I think it is very well constructed, and your quarterbacks are definitely the Dak double and Geno with Bowers makes a ton of sense there. All right, let's see. Loots. Hold on. Let me catch back up with chat here. All right. Al Boogie, breaking news. Najee expected to practice soon. Shouldn't be miss any games. Brought to you by Boogie Schefter. All right. So there we go. I just reviewed the team with Najee and was worried about not having enough eyes, but he apparently has 2 functioning eyes and will be back. Huame says Kansas City sometimes has 2. That is true. I always forget that people do take Noah Gray because I don't really take much of him. Steve says, I make the case that Arthur Smith did his 2 years in Atlanta with Ritter, so why not with Rodgers? That is fair. Again, I think we kind of, don't necessarily count enough the teams that utilize 2 tight ends and see it more as a nuisance rather than like an opportunity to have another potential drafted player. Timid 1387. I just drafted 2 backups with Firemouth and Fannis. Have Mark Andrews too. Hopefully I didn't waste picks on Fannin and Firemouth. Don't know what's going on in Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, if Cleveland is a dumpster fire, then Fannin by the end of the season could be a smash. I think it's an Njoku contract year, so that can always cut a couple of different ways, right? Like you can have the player who's like busting their tail for that second contract on a bad team, or you could have the player that says, I put enough good stuff on film I don't want to get injured and, they pull their hamstring and they're out for the rest of the season. So I'm not saying Njoku's that kind of guy. I'm just saying, we see that sometimes, when teams are imploding, young guys can get a chance to get out there. So, you never know. And Fannin also, who knows? Maybe he's good enough to see some work. Steve says the Browns don't know what's going on in Cleveland. Yeah, I think that's probably the issue. Greg says, late to the convo, but didn't Jonnu get work splitting tight end with Pitts, also attached to Arthur Smith? That's fair. And my God, did we hate them for that when we you know what? It should have been a sign, because we were blaming Arthur Smith for not using enough Kyle Pitts that year. And maybe it's just that Jonnu was like really bad and we were all ignoring it. Hang on, I am on the clock. Speaking of poor decisions, firing up another draft. Really didn't need to do that. All right. Jameis was a delight when he played last year. Who aims? If Najee gets an eye patch, the Bucs should trade for him. Yeah, I think you automatically get claimed by the Bucs if you are wearing an eye patch. Najee with an eye patch is top 5 RB. That's what people are saying. People are saying if you wear an eye patch, that is some major swag value. And Greg says that's exactly what I'm saying. Both Jonnu and Pitts were top 20 tight ends in both points per game and total points that year. Yeah. So maybe maybe I need to backtrack and rethink that fire moose, full fade. It certainly makes sense, and it makes even more sense if you have Aaron Rodgers. Hartman Dak double is my favorite build base. Yeah, that's pretty strong. And Bruce K, GM from Cali. Thank you, Bruce, for coming by. All right, I'm caught up on chat. Lutz with a 2673. Nice to see 2 quarterbacks, Lutz. Thank you for changing it up a little bit. T-Law, CJ Stroud, Omarion Hampton, Travion Henderson, Isaiah Pacheco, Zach Charbonnet, Miles Sanders, and Jarquez Hunter. This is a very Chad Kendall's running back room. I feel like I have perhaps this exact room on other teams. I'm obviously biased towards liking this team because I love this running back room. Let's see. Nico Collins, BTJ, JSN, Flowers, Palmer, Douglas, and Jalen Knoll. Again, you're the Collins guy. Yeah, or excuse me, the Stroud guy. So yeah, really strong team. And then Hawkinson, Evan Ingram, and George. Sorry, who is? Oh, my guy, Juwan Johnson. Sorry, my webcam covers the last pick, and if I can't read it on the tiny screen, I did not know who you took there. So yeah, I really like the team that you constructed there. I think this is very strong there. Lutz, nice job. Steve, let's see what Steve put together. Steve has a 3-6-7-2. Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, and Daniel Jones. So Steve goes the Daniel Jones route as far as how to play things in Indy. He's got James Conner, Tony Pollard, B-Rob, Jalen Wright, Nick Chubb, and Taj Brooks. I love seeing Taj Brooks there because that validates me who is taking Taj Brooks. You've got B-Rob with Jaden Daniels. I'm going to pull an Al Boogie. That was my combination when I won the divisional round BR. That was just for you, Al Boogie. So I think that combination can definitely work. Puka Nacua, Drake London, Terry McLaurin, Travis Hunter, Cooper Kupp, Marvin Mims, and Adam Thielen. Strong wide receiver room there. I know Steve is famously an Adam Thielen bull. And then Mark Andrews and Brenton Strange. So stopping at 2 tight ends. But I'm with you, Steve. I think you can stop if Strange is your second tight end. I really think highly of him. So I think this was a great room. Really appreciate you all who drafted with me. I'll hop over to the other room, joining it in progress. And let's see what I did, because I don't even know who's on this team. Because you all are what makes this go. So let's see. I don't even know what I have here. Sure, let's take Braylon Allen because it looks like my running backs are terrible. All right, so catching up on things. We've got Lamar Jackson. We've got Trevor Lawrence. We've got Sam Darnold. Running back room of Joe Mixon, Travion Henderson, Cam Scatterbo, Jalen Wright, and Braylon Allen. Wide receiver room of Malik Neighbors, BTJ, Mike Evans, Matthew Golden, Kyle Williams, and QJ. And a tight end room of TJ Hawkinson and Evan Ingram. So of all the times to not just snap call Diami Brown, I don't take him when I have T-Law. Maybe we'll queue him up. Darnold, we're going to need to stack with somebody because I don't have any Seahawks. So maybe we don't take Brown and we just take MVS at the end. We have Lamar Jackson stacked with Absolutely nobody. So we've really put together a shipper over off stream. So you guys were really not missing out on this one. Steve, I know you were in the overflow. Hopefully your team is going better than this one. Let's see. All right. Now I can catch up with the chat. Anyone know why eye patches are a thing? It's actually pretty ingenious. All right, hold on. I missed something here. Najee needs eye patches so they don't know which way he's looking. Yeah, maybe you could wear 2 eye patches, and or you just pull the LaDainian and just wear the like super dark reflective visor. I always thought that was a pretty cool look. I'll book you 2 eye patches. Nice. See, I made the joke you already made. I'm not original at all. Anyone know why eye patches are a thing? I read that. Sorry. Lutz, I realized from the Dynasty draft that we did have a lot of the same player takes. Yeah. Hey, I'm rooting for you, Lutz, because that means I'm having a good year too. Greg says, so we don't have to look at folks' creepy dead eyeballs or eye hole. Says, I feel like I'll just use the eye patch lore today on my stream. Eye patches are very inexpensive. You can pick one up at CVS for like $3. So I've, if you need a late season Halloween costume, or just want to live the pirate life, then you can make that happen pretty easily. We're gonna take Keaton Mitchell on this team that nobody cares about, including myself. This poor maligned team, because I do want somebody with Lamar, and why not Keaton Mitchell? Al Boogie says, my girlfriend wears eye patches so she doesn't have to look at me naked. Oh no, Al Boogie, you know what? I don't even know how to respond to that. Al Boogie, you're being very unkind to yourself. All right, Hartman says, you were doing another draft this whole time? Hartman, I fired up a second one because I'm going to end the stream at 10 and I wanted to have something going. But there were so many people in that stream, I realized I could have just like ended with that draft and just talked about everyone's stream. It'd have been close enough. But yes, on my phone, I was clicking these buttons and obviously not clicking them pretty well. Pretty stoked for the history of eye patches. Yes. Maybe that'll be the subject for tomorrow's stream. Mike Rob, Al Boogie telling the chat about his bedroom. Yeah, this stream, YouTube is going to hit me with an over 18 rating again. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Stick around, Mike. It gets better. I don't think you're talking about this team, because this team is not, oh gosh. Yes. All right, we'll take MVS. Dear God. Double eye patches. Yeah. Double eye patches is the way to really spice things up, is what they say. All right. So our team ended up being 3-6-7-2. Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, and Sam Darnold. Joe Mixon, Travion Henderson, Cam Scatabo, Jalen Wright, Braylon Allen, Keaton Mitchell. Yikes. Scadabo's doing a lot of heavy lifting on this backfield. Malik Neighbors, BTJ. So we squander a BTJ Neighbors start. We get Mike Evans, Matthew Golden, Kyle Williams, QJ, and MVS. So I like the wide receivers well enough. And then Hawkinson and Ingram. So I think that's fine. I've definitely drafted worse teams, but not very many. Not very many. Not great. Chad Candles almost walked into Al Boogie's trap. Yeah, you know what? I'm multitasking, and I'm very susceptible to that. So I'm glad I evaded it. All right, Lutz, I feel like you could have done without Darnold, but that's probably because I'm mostly a 2 QB guy. Yeah, I probably could have with I actually think when I clicked it, I forgot I had Lawrence on this team, because again, I was chatting with all of you. But everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. Tomorrow I will be on, and then afterwards I will be on the Fanspeak Network. Today, Hames is going to be on the Fanspeak Network with Steve, which is awesome. I highly recommend tuning into that. I'm going to be flipping over to watch Ship Chasing. If you don't watch that, it's always a great watch, that show there. So again, if you could please like and subscribe. We're on the road to 200. Have so much fun doing these morning streams with you all. Again, really appreciate it, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care, everyone.